Welcome back to the Poultry Doc Podcast. I'm Dr. Blayne Mosershek, and today we're at Sarah's talking about some of the most common backyard flock remedies and medications people use. We'll go through which ones actually work, which don't, and how to know what's truly safe for your birds. Let's hop in.
Pretty much everything I know about chickens is from Facebook or Reddit from my backyard chicken groups.
Yeah.
And so every time that they have a problem that I have, then I just read everything and follow as many of them as I can manage. So I go to the store and get something, come back home and research it, and then change my mind.
You have what everybody else has, and a lot of this is just doesn't work.
Great.
I'm telling you, this doesn't work. And I'm not saying that you're doing things wrong, because everybody does this, and I get exactly where this comes from. Sarah has a plethora of different vitamins and minerals and supplements, we'll call it that. And there's Terramycin eye drops, which would work, and she also has injectable Ivermectin. And we're going to talk about all these and what they can be applied for. And the first one I picked up are chili flakes. And unless you like spicy food, these really aren't going to do you any good. There's no data to support chili flakes having an effect on parasites, especially intestinal parasites. And I know you read a ton and people swear by it that it works. I would challenge them that if they had intestinal parasites, that they would still have intestinal parasites if they gave this a
I can still feed it to them, right?
Yeah, it will not hurt, right? So while this will not help with intestinal parasites like roundworms, for example, it will make their eggs very vibrant gold color. That's one thing this is good for, a natural way to influence the color of your eggs. Next, we have some oregano powder. Now, so there's many articles out there that show that it does have an effect on coccidiosis. So while I wouldn't use it as a means of treatment, it does slow the cycling down of coccidiosis. So it's not a bad thing. It's also not something that you want to give in the face of a coccidiosis outbreak where you're having mortality. And it's also, I wouldn't say, a substitute for good control of coccidiosis. But if you wanted a truly organic program, this is something that could be used as a supplement. Not outside of vaccination would be your first line of defense for coccidiosis in an organic program. And then this could help as well. We're going to go through several of these. We may not hit them all, but one that I pulled out of here that I think everybody should be aware of is Blue Kote. And if you're on our forums, you will realize that in the comments, you cannot comment on this product. You can talk about it if you have an issue, and you may have, I don't think you have, but you may have mentioned it or seen it read in a post. And what we do with our posts is it's very limited on what we restrict, because I want people to be able to list whatever the issues they have and whatever they've used to treat it. So Blue Kote contains gentian violet, which is a toxinogenic compound and has been shown to be carcinogenic. And so when this product is applied on any food animal, it's essentially, in eggs, for example, it has a lifetime withdrawal. So to put it that way. So this is actually illegal to use in food producing animals of any kind. So we do not use Blue Kote on anything that we're going to consume, even if it's eggs from a hen. Well, I wish I knew the branding person of this, the marketing person, because they're amazing and they can sell it. Anyway, so Poultry Cell is another one that's very, very commonly used. It's sort of like the panacea of everything backyard poultry. I don't think it's that great of a product. It's not bad. It does have things in here that can be helpful, but it's also not necessary to be giving it every day, 1 to 3 meals a day per bird. If you've got a stressful situation, for instance, like you're moving birds from one, you've bought some birds and bring them into your facility, that may be a reason to use it. But again, to provide supplemental vitamins and minerals every day to the flock is probably not necessary. So definitely not a cure-all. It's not an antibiotic. It doesn't do anything like that. It's just a vitamin and mineral supplement. Iodine wound spray. Okay, this is a good one. Here we've got gentle iodine wound spray. Iodine is an antibacterial. It's a great spray that can be applied to wounds to wash and clean. This particular product has surfactant in it, and you can easily see that on the label of ingredients. So this is one that we don't want to put into water, because we can use this to sanitize water, like a few drops, not this particular one, but one without surfactant in it. You can put a few drops of this into drinking water. Like if you've got a pox challenge, for example, or laryngotracheitis, LT would be one where we can slow the transmission of that disease by sanitizing the water, and iodine is something that can be added. So this particular formulation is more for wound cleaning because it's got the surfactant in it. This is another good one I would recommend in a kit. Epsom salt. I hate Epsom salt. No, so Epsom salts. I can't tell you how many posts I read about giving chickens baths with Epsom salts. There is zero data to support any transdermal absorption of magnesium through the skin. Just doesn't happen. The one thing that I've read that supports it, it was a talk that was given by the association that supports Epsom salts. So again, we look for information that's like peer reviewed, comes from a reputable university or research group. There's really nothing to support the use of Epsom salt. It's just been around forever. Everybody talks about it, but this is not going to have a muscle relaxing ability in itself. So warm bath with Epsom salts probably has some effect, but it's not from the Epsom salt. Here's another one that's many, many opinions on diatomaceous earth. So there are two different kinds of diatomaceous earth. We have food grade, which is what Sarah has here. And then there's also like a commercial grade. There's no problem with food grade. This is best used in sort of a dust bath. You don't want to give it be the sole source of a dust bath, but if you mix it into a dust bath. So this is something not bad to have, but it's not absolutely recommended. Another one I want to talk about is ivermectin. We commonly see this in the forums where people are giving injectable ivermectin, that's what this is, and they're applying it topically. You may as well pour it on the ground. Injectable ivermectin will not be effective if applied through the skin. Secondly, there are transdermal versions of ivermectin, so there are topically applied ivermectin products, and there are many comments about applying it to the base of the neck, applying it to the tail, applying it under the wing, all these different areas. One, there's a very long egg withdrawal time on this, and there's really no specific egg withdrawal time, but it could be months depending on what you read. If you give ivermectin, the transdermal version, you really only need to give it in one spot. The drug works systemically, so you apply the calculated amount to one spot on the bird, and it's going to accomplish the same thing as putting it in 3 to 4 different places. So again, we want to make sure that we calculate the dose correctly, and really you only need to give it in one place if you were giving the transdermal version. This is not. This is the injectable version. Will do no good if given on the skin.
And in the water.
As a veterinarian, I'm going to tell you, follow the label. I would advise not to give an injectable product through the water. There are other FDA proven drugs, one that we just talked about, that can be given through the water according to the label to treat specific diseases like northern foul mites, which we talked about today. So one of the main reasons is the residues, right? That's why we don't want to use a product like this. It hasn't been tested in chickens, and we know that residues from ivermectin are concentrated in the yolk, and we'll have residues in the yolk from ivermectin. Another one, Permethrin is a product that is totally labeled for use on the premises, so we can dilute this to the concentration that the label says. Again, as with any of these products, especially those that are approved, the label is formulated for its use, right? And the label is also formulated, or the label is created in a way that takes into account residues. And so if it's used according to the label, and the label says it has 0 egg withdrawal or 0 meat withdrawal, then you're totally fine to use it. If you go off of that label, then the withdrawal recommendations are really out the window. So always use things according to the label. And Permethrin is a great product. It's been around for a long time. It's actually comes from the chrysanthemum flower, so it's actually natural. There are synthetic versions. I think this actually may be a synthetic version, but this can be applied on the premises. It can be sprayed on the birds according to the label. Again, it's approved for that. We don't necessarily need to give the birds a bath in this. Again, follow the label. The label doesn't say to give a bath. This is a powdered version of Permethrin, so small amount of this according to the label, in with like a 10% diatomaceous earth with some sand would be a great way to control mites with something that's kind of always around. There are also some antibiotics here that are labeled for not poultry, so fish being an example, and really those products, they're human drugs that are being used or being sold into backyard poultry, and it's not ideal, right? We always need to be judicious about our use of antibiotics. As a veterinarian, that's one of our main things, is to protect the efficacy of these drugs. And if we overuse them in poultry or don't use the correct drug, it's a way to create resistance in that population, so that when we need them, like when humans need them or any animal needs them, they don't work as well. So Sarah's got ophthalmic ointment and some Terramycin cream, so an antibiotic eye ointment, which both of these can be good. Sometimes Birds will get like a foreign body in the eye, or you'll notice sometimes in those cases with MG or some other issues, they may have a sort of an eye infection, and this can help overcome some of those localized eye infections. So that's always something good to keep in your sort of emergency box. Vetericyn Poultry Care. This product is hypochlorous acid. Basically, it's a great sanitizer. It does work really well. It's not very harsh. It's safe. It's a natural product. So this and some chlorhexidine or some sort of surgical scrub or surgical wash is a good one to have. I think we've kind of gone through most everything. So till then, we'll see you again. Share the channel if you like it. Share this episode, save it, and tell all your friends. Thanks again for joining. This is the Poultry Doc Podcast, and I'm your host, Dr. Blayne Mozishak.